if you could like wave a magic wand and have the entire industry make like one change based off of what you've learned that the most successful companies do, what would that be?
Oh, wow. That is
I know.
huge. I have so many. I'm not even sure where to start. I will say the thing that is on my mind at the
Yeah.
moment is, um, which is not for everybody because it depends on what scale you are as a company. And I have
Okay.
all kinds of comments about people trying to do things too early. But resilience in production, right? This notion of chaos and all these things. Like I'm very interested in many different disciplines about accepting that things are going to break and designing systems in a way that is basically makes that assumption. And I think, especially in a universe where many companies are going from monoliths to microservices and like simple systems to complex systems, many have failed to recognize the transition and complexity that comes as a result, and built the resilience into their systems to support that. I think we would all be much happier if that was just a common practice and a common pattern.
What size engineering org should I start to pay attention to this? If I'm two people right now, should I be obsessing about this or paying attention to the
Well,
customer value, or like where should I?
yeah, you can get away with a lot when you're small.
Mhm.
And I don't have a magic number. Like I don't have the Dunbar number for resilience or whatever.
It's
But
okay.
the thing that is more important to me there is people try to build services out of the gate. And when you're two people, probably you don't understand your business model and you don't understand the access patterns of your customers or what's really going to work in your system and what's not. So you don't really understand your domain either. And then you carve that up into a bunch of tiny pieces because you read a book that says that's a good idea or whatever. The overhead and complexity of that will probably cause you to never find your business model and never find product market fit and never have to worry about resilience. So don't do that. It's basically at the point for me where I wish we had been paying more attention to that was at the point where we said, you know what, we have scaling issues in our sort of monolithic infrastructure. We definitely understand our business. We know who our customer is. We know how they use the product. Like we've checked all the boxes on this list that say we should start building microservices. But what we didn't do is set great patterns and practices for our teams to say, here's how we're going to go about doing this. We sort of said, you're smart engineers, you'll figure it out. And it turns out smart product engineers, people who spend all of their time working in a monolith, building like business logic and customer value, aren't necessarily experts in distributed systems. And just assuming that they will be, probably a mistake. And so if you find yourself in that transition, right, of where you're going to be adding a lot of complexity, just recognize you're adding that complexity. And it's very difficult to come back and retrofit it later. So be sure that you're ready to invest in that overhead and complexity before you start to, break your system apart in that way.